Magic items have always been a fun thing to have in Dungeons & Dragons. GameMasters here, and I want to take a good look at some of the magic items found in the new Vecna Eve of Ruin book. Some have been around for a very long time, but there are a few new ones. Today, I want to go over many of those. Though, do keep in mind that we'll be trekking over spoiler territory, so if you don't want to know the details, that said, let's check them out. Of course, the big MacGuffin on the book is the Rod of Seven Parts. It is an artifact and requires attunement. It cannot be attuned while in separate parts, and like its past incarnations, holding just a part of it will allow you to know the general area of the next consecutive piece. Each piece has a spell connected to it, and just holding the individual piece allows you to cast that spell. For example, the first piece lets you cast Commune, while the second piece lets you cast Arcane Gate. The third piece is connected to Reverse Gravity. The fourth is Regenerate. The fifth piece lets you cast Find the Path, and the sixth piece has Mirage Arcane, and the final piece lets you cast Simulacrum. Putting the entire rod together, and it acts as a magic quarterstaff that gets you a +3 bonus to attack and damage rolls. It has 7 charges that recharge 1d4 +3 expenditures daily at dawn, and you can cast any of the spells that we just mentioned, as well as Detect Evil and Detect Good without using any charges. Simply holding the rod will cause your alignment to shift towards a lawful alignment. The Sword of Cass is optional for showing up in here, and it simply directs you to the Dungeon Master's Guide for its abilities. And this adventure adds nothing new to the sword. There is a Drift Globe, which allows you to use it as a light. There's a Necklace of Adaptation that grants you the ability to breathe normally in any environment. Plus, both of those are wondrous items. There is a legendary wondrous item called the Well of Many Worlds. You'll find this in Illustral Sanctum, but it's a black silk cloth that's about 6 feet in diameter. You can toss it onto any solid surface, and it creates a two-way portal to another world or plane of existence. And it's up to the DM to determine where it leads. And then we have the Chime of Exile. This is a very rare wondrous item that lets you cast the Banishment spell, and if the target has fewer or 50 hit points, it's automatically affected. Throughout the adventure, you'll discover various other magic items, stuff like a bag of holding, a dagger +2, various potions and spell scrolls, a cube of force, kind of your general everyday adventure type magic items and goodies. Though there is a flame tongue short sword and a ring of evasion that you can find, as well as a lantern of revealing. Oh, and a necklace of fireballs, and a ring of shooting stars, and a tome of leadership and influence, which if you spend 48 hours reading it, your charisma will increase by 2, as does your maximum for that score. Kind of some fun items here, but do keep in mind that this is just a small sampling of all the various everyday magic items that you're going to find. There are certainly more peppered throughout the adventure. There is the Docent. This is a rare wondrous magic item that looks like a small metal ball with a little crystal jutting out of it. It's a sentient item that communicates with you telepathically. Should you end your turn with 0 hit points, it has a chance to stabilize you. It knows Common, Giant, and possibly more languages, and that's kind of up to the DM, and it can cast Detect Evil, Detect Good, and Detect Magic. There is also a pool, and while it's not a magic item within itself, it's a pool of gray matter. Think along the lines of engine oil, but if a non-magical item is put into that pool, there's a d6 table that you can roll to determine what might magically happen to that item. The pool only has 4 charges, so pick the item well and cross your fingers. The next item can be found in a casino. It's called a soul coin and is an uncommon wondrous item. It's a large coin about 5 inches across and about an inch thick, but each one of these has a single soul bound to it, and as such, each one has its own unique story. Each coin has 3 charges, and you can spend 1 charge to do the following. Either Drain Life, doing this will grant you 1d10 temporary hit points, or Query. You can ask the bound soul a question, but the answer might be cryptic, and it's only going to be an answer that it knows based on what it knew from its own life. Should you cast Remove Curse on the coin, the soul within is freed and the charges on the coin are expended. But in doing this, the coin is also destroyed. These coins, while technically are magical, they're used more as a currency in the 9 Hells and can be cashed in at the casino found in Avernus. Then we have the Crown of Lies. This is an artifact, a wondrous item. Its history is unknown, and it should not be confused with the Crown of Lies found in the old D&D Baldur's Gate game that allowed mages and bards to memorize one extra spell. No, this one was manifested by the Dark Powers. Old school players know that as the Mists of Ravenloft, but the Dark Powers evidently manifested this crown. It has 3 random properties that the DM can choose, and I do like that they went old school with this by giving the option to the DM as opposed to spelling it out in the book. But the DM will choose 1 minor beneficial property, 1 major beneficial property, and 1 minor detrimental property. But moreover, it also has an ability called Perfect Disguise. When you attune to it, you can use an action to transform yourself to look and feel like any creature that you've seen at least once and whose size is no more than 1 size smaller or larger than yours. Even if it even also changes your voice to mimic the creature. Although if you are a non-caster and you mimic a caster, you're not going to gain spells. You're just going to look and sound like that caster. Moreover, while in disguise, any lies you tell always seem to be true, regardless of what magical or mundane methods are used to try to detect your falsehoods. Yes, it is 9.5 inches. We've had some lively conversation in my Discord over this crown specifically. What's the phrase, seem to be true, really mean anyway? It's not that it is true, it's just that it seems like it should be true. But I digress. Oh, and I almost forgot. One more thing about the Rod of 7 Parts. Watch this video next.